morning, I'm Kristin Omdahl. Welcome back to Barefoot Beach. Today I am working on a vest. It's going to be one of those drape vests, you know, where you put your arms through the holes and then the front just kind of drapes down, kind of a waterfall cascading style. Well, that's what I'm working on this morning. I'll go for a walk afterwards, but I thought it would be nice to come down here and do a little knitting at the beginning of my morning. It's a really relaxing pattern, and now that the pattern is completely established and I'm in the home stretch, it's a nice time to take my work out of the house when I don't have to worry about the design elements anymore. Today's question comes from Tyson, and he asked me, it was kind of a multi-level question about why I like to do seamless techniques in knitting and crochet rather than sewing them. And it's an interesting question because there's nothing wrong with sewing knit and crochet pieces together, because I've known many designers over the years who prefer sewing seams in their sweaters. They feel like it brings more structure to the garment, and that's probably true. It costs less to have a pattern sized, graded, or tech edited when it's made in pieces, because there's less math involved and less math to check. So there's another good reason to sew your pieces together. You can certainly sew motifs together. There's nothing wrong with sewing. I think when it comes down to it, the reason why I prefer seamless, especially in motifs for knitting or crochet, I think it's more about puzzle pieces and maybe being a purist, because I like to sew and I actually like to hand sew. But maybe it's because when I'm crocheting, I want, if there's a way to crochet it together instead of adding sewing as an afterthought, then I think I want to make it completely crochet. One of the books I wrote in knitting was Knitting Outside the Swatch, and the whole concept for that book was to make knit motifs and join them as you go, not because you can't sew them together, but if you can, why not try it? And that brings out some of the puzzle passion that I have, and definitely some of the purist, I think. So there is no reason to avoid the sewing. It's just, why not try? And if it works, then it's cool. And it's just another technique to learn. Even with this vest, I was working in that respect. You could have done the back panel and the two front panels separately and sewn them where you left holes for the armholes, but instead I used a combination of different types of picking up and different types of cast on and bind off to actually make it look completely seamless and invisible. And you really, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it's completely invisible. And it doesn't mean that it would have been ugly with seams. It's just something that I enjoy pushing the envelope on. If it's possible to do something purely in one craft, then I want to see if I can do it in the one craft. Not to say that I don't enjoy joining crafts, but it's what I was saying earlier was that I feel like sewing them together is an afterthought, whereas if you're going to crochet on fabric and you actually sew stitches on first to then crochet or knit into, I think that's cool. It's when you deliberately combine crafts that I think it's artistic, whereas if you're combining them because you just don't know how to do it any other way, that's not as exciting to me. So that would be my actual reason why I love to do seamless construction so much, just because I can, and it's a little more challenging. Thank you for your question, Tyson, and if you have other questions, and that goes for everyone else, I love reading your feedback and I love being able to answer your questions here at the beach. I'm going to knit a couple of rows and go for a walk. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.